Okay, so for 9 straight months, pretty much all the focus is on getting ready for the baby, right? The nursery, the tiny clothes, all the gear. But what about getting ready for you? We're going to talk about the fourth trimester, that really crucial and, let's be honest, often surprising time right after you give birth. And preparing for your own recovery? That might just be the most important prep work you do.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break it all down into 5 key areas. We'll start with what I call the postpartum surprise, that feeling of shock so many of us have. Then we'll get into what your physical recovery really looks like, navigate the ups and downs of breastfeeding, talk about how to fuel your body, and wrap up with the absolute game changer, building your own proactive support plan.
All right, let's dive right into that first big surprise. If you felt totally blindsided by what postpartum life is actually like, I promise you, you are in very good company. There's this massive disconnect between how we're told to prepare for a baby and how we prepare for ourselves. And you know what? The data totally backs this up.
Check this out. One study found that a solid 65% of women feel completely prepared to take care of their newborn. And that makes sense, right? I mean, that's what all the books, the classes, and the advice focuses on. We are basically conditioned to feel ready for the baby.
But here's the kicker. When you ask those exact same women if they felt prepared to take care of themselves, that number just plummets. It drops all the way down to 47%. So a majority of new moms feel unprepared for their own healing and recovery. That gap right there, that's what we need to fix. It is time to focus on the other patient in the room, you.
So what does this lack of preparation really feel like in the real world? Well, it starts with physical recovery. And this is not about bouncing back. That phrase should be banned. This is about being honest about what your body has just been through.
So what are the things that actually catch new moms off guard? You know, the stuff that people don't really talk about at the baby shower? It's so much more than just being tired. The physical side of things is intense and it's real.
You know, some of the biggest surprises are actually the most common. First, just how long it takes to recover. It is almost always way longer than you think. Then there's the specific, and sometimes pretty intense, pain from things like hemorrhoids. And if you've had a C-section, it's that slow, dawning realization that, oh yeah, you're healing from major abdominal surgery. And you're doing all of this while trying to feed a tiny human around the clock? It's a lot.
And that brings us right to feeding. Whether you're planning to breastfeed, pump, or do a mix of both, this is so important to remember. It is a learned skill. For both of you, it's something you and your baby are learning together, and it absolutely does not always come naturally. And that is 100% okay.
In fact, get this, a staggering 62% of moms say they were not prepared for the challenges that can pop up with breastfeeding. We're talking about things like a painful latch, stressing about your milk supply, or maybe an unexpected NICU stay that means you have to pump exclusively from the start. That number is huge, and it just shows how incredibly common it is to hit these hurdles.
Now, if you remember one thing, let it be this, and this comes straight from a lactation consultant. Breastfeeding should not hurt. Simple as that. A little bit of tenderness at the very beginning might be normal, but ongoing, sharp pain is your body's way of screaming that something needs to be adjusted. It is not a pain you're supposed to just power through. It's a signal to get help.
Experts often suggest thinking about it in 2 phases. So for those first 4 to 6 weeks, the whole goal is just to let your baby regulate your milk supply. Just focus on getting the positioning and the latch right and give yourself so much grace. Then, after that initial period, you can start to think about introducing a pump to build a freezer stash or get ready for time away.
Now, to handle all of this, your body is going to need fuel. Seriously, we're not talking about a nice-to-have here. Fueling yourself in the 4th trimester is an absolute necessity. It's for your healing, for your mental health, and for making milk if you're breastfeeding.
Okay, here is one of the best postpartum hacks I have ever heard, and it comes from a registered dietitian. It's so simple, but it's brilliant. If the baby is eating, you should be eating. Think about it. You're already sitting down to feed them, so use that time to fuel yourself too. You're basically tying your needs to their schedule so you don't forget.
And to make that even easier on yourself, set up some snack stations. Just pick the spots where you know you'll be feeding or pumping a lot. You know, the couch, your nightstand, that one comfy chair. Stock those spots with easy one-handed snacks like granola bars or trail mix. And in the fridge, keep things ready to grab like hard-boiled eggs or those drinkable yogurts. The goal is to make eating as easy as humanly possible. So, what should you be eating? Well, if you're breastfeeding, you need an extra 300 to 500 calories a day. Really focus on protein, because that helps your tissues heal. You'll also want iron-rich foods to build your system back up, plus plenty of healthy fats. Just think nutrient-dense. You want the most bang for your buck with every bite.
All right, this brings us to our final and honestly our most important section. If there is one secret, one key to a smoother fourth trimester, this is it. You have to create a proactive support plan before the baby gets here.
And listen to this. This quote comes from an OBGYN who has delivered literally thousands of babies. And she said that even with all her medical knowledge, the single biggest thing that made a difference for her own postpartum experience was connecting with a lactation consultant before she even gave birth. It's the perfect example that even the experts need experts. You have to set up your team ahead of time.
And building that team means we need to totally redefine what help looks like. You know, instead of another cute outfit or a baby toy, think about what really, truly supports a new mom. We're talking about gift cards for meal delivery, friends who offer to stock your freezer, a family member who just comes over to wash pump parts for you. That is the kind of support that makes a massive difference.
So we're going to end with a question. And it's not just a rhetorical one. It's your first planning step. I want you to take a moment right now and really think about it. Who is going to be on your support team when you get home? Is it your partner, a parent, a best friend, a lactation consultant you've already found, a meal service? Building that team before the baby arrives is the single best thing you can do to prepare for this incredible journey.